Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Literally Dead Book Club live show for March. We read The Fisherman by John Langan. If everybody wants to put a little emoji in the comments, you can let us know if you read it. If you didn't, I on Fable saw a lot of people DNFing it, so that's fine. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts as we go through this live show. Just a little reminder, if you haven't heard, we're currently reading Best Offer Wins for the month of April. And then in the month of May, we're doing The Ending Writes Itself, that like V.E. Schwab collaborative thing. And I picked a couple backlist back to back because I wanted to make sure this was happening because we're reading a whole bunch of brand new stuff for the rest of the year. So hopefully everybody got their hands on this. And before we get into the synopsis, let's do introductions. I'd love to hear about you, your name, your channel, maybe like a recent favorite mystery horror book. And then once you're done, Gavin can roll right into the synopsis for The Fisherman.
If I even read it, how do you know I read it?
Okay. Gavin suggested he might come here not having read it as an experiment.
Yeah, to see if anyone would notice I hadn't read it. I will do it one day. I'll do it one day.
It's crazy.
That's kind of what I'm hoping you'll do, Gavin, if I'm being honest. So I'm Jordaline. My channel is Jordaline Reads. The book that I want to just quickly recommend is a book I finished 7 hours ago. Gave it 5 stars, read it in a single sitting, couldn't put it down. Physically, with my eyes, read it. No audiobook, my dude. It was this book called Homesick. It doesn't come out until July, which I'm so sorry for, but it was so good. It's giving changeling, mentally unwell woman who's a little bit unhinged. So I really related to her. And yeah, on my channel also, I talk about a lot of horror.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Tiff.
Tiffany. Hi, I'm McKenna. My channel is McKenna Loves Content. And my most recent horror win was The Reformatory, obviously. But my most recent one in general that has it's more fantasy, but it has touches of horror is The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan.
Oh.
I fucking love this. It's about the Beast of Gévaudan, which is my favorite historical event. Spoiler alert. The vlog hasn't come out yet, but spoiler alert, I did love this book.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I picked that one up just the other day too, and I'm so excited to give it a read.
Oh
God,
God,
I've heard so many people talk about it.
Yeah.
It's so good. My friend Peyton from Peyton at Book in Hand, she read it before me and she was like, you need to get it now, immediately. So I did. I listened.
I love that. I'm surprised you didn't mention David Attenborough as well. Never
That
mind.
wasn't a recent read, Gavin. Have you picked
Yeah,
it
but I
up
thought
yet?
no, but I still thought you would bring it up.
I'm gonna send you a David Attenborough book.
Okay,
fine. All right, good.
I'll send you my address. Okay, I'm Gavin from Gavin Reads It All, and I do love to read a bit of horror and thriller, but I haven't had that many that I've really loved recently. But I am currently in the middle of a book that I am loving, and it's a thriller, and it's Witch Trial by Harriet Tice. And this one, there's 2 girls on trial for the death of one of their classmates, and we are seeing it through the eyes of a heart surgeon who's on the jury. And I thought I would a jury, that's gonna be so boring. It actually isn't. It's so engrossing. Hearing all about it is so good. I probably should have said, actually, I did enjoy this. I just saw Gavin hated The Fisherman. This was kind of a win. I don't want to spoil it, but I was excluding that one because we're about to talk about it. But Witch Trial is a recent thrillery read that I've been really enjoying. And the author was on the UK version of The Traitors. So if you've ever seen The Traitors, she was a faithful. She had one of the best moments on the season. She was so good. But she's also a thriller writer. So yeah, that's
I've never heard of it.
It just came out in March or February, one of those two, and it also includes some little facts about witches and stuff that happened in Edinburgh and stuff. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Well, everybody, if you want to share your rating while Gavin tells us what the heck this book was about.
Let me hold up my beautiful UK.
I've never seen that cover.
I'm not sure I like it. I mean, it does that. I'm not sure I like it that much.
I like ours. I like ours.
I do like it.
Yeah.
I don't love this one either, actually. I think it's
I
fine.
do.
Yeah.
I like.
I
this
feel
one.
like I do like your one because it seems a little bit biblical, and I feel like there's some like biblical images in this story. But the fisherman, we do get introduced to Abe, and he is a widow, a fresh widow. Well, actually, I don't really think he's that fresh. I can't remember how long it had been, but he has lost his wife, and he is grieving. But he's suddenly pulled into wanting to fish. Like, comes out of nowhere, he wants to go fishing, so he does that, and he ends up inviting a colleague called Dan along for the ride because Dan has also lost his wife and children. And Dan ends up bringing up a place called Dutchman's Creek that Abe hasn't heard of. And they're on their way there. They run into a guy called Howard at a diner, and Howard tells them the story of the fisherman, or at least a story about the fisherman that is a bit of like an urban legend kind of thing, but it is kind of rooted in some really weird historical kind of things too. And it's just a bit of a weird time. And I feel like it probably will be very polarizing because it's not a very straightforward story, but I liked it. And I think it has like some good, sorry, I'm going into opinions now. Sorry. I think that's the summary is over. The summary's over.
Thank you. Claps for you. Usually I make, you guys might know if you've been here before. I usually make the newbie do the synopsis. This is McKenna's first live show ever on the internet, and I was like, I can't do that to her.
Can I say though, the person you just pulled up last, the one that says Eric, that's my boyfriend, and he's a liar. He did not read this book. He is trying to support.
That's crazy.
I believe him.
I believe him.
No.
I believe him. Yeah. I think he read it.
I think he read it. He read it as a surprise to me. Thank you, babe.
Aw, so kind. Okay, so thank you for the synopsis. That was perfect. That was fantastic. Better than I could ever do.
Beautiful.
Okay, we asked everyone for their ratings. I guess we need to share ours. There was a really mix in there. Like I saw 2s, I saw 4s. I want to say I was surprised by how many 4.5s just came through because of the Fable group where everyone's chatting. Not a lot of people seem to really like this one, but maybe it's kind of the situation where you only really, the people who talk about it the most are the ones who have something to say, which is negative. So I'm pleasantly surprised to see a lot of high ratings. It shouldn't be that surprising because this book has like a 3.8 average on Goodreads. That's one of the reasons that I chose it. I'll hold on to mine for a second. I want to hear your guys' ratings and a quick, like, spoiler-free. We're still in the spoiler-free section to convince anybody to read it or against it. Yeah, one sentence why your rating is what it is.
So originally, I think I was going to give it 3, but now that I've sat on it for 2 days, after like rage reading it, I think I'm going to do 2.5. Maybe like a 2, I'm not sure. But I think my one sentence review would just be my Goodreads review, which was men will do anything but go to therapy. Like that's my review for the book.
That's fair. Okay, well, thank you so much for finishing it because there was a world in which Jordaline DNF'd it and it didn't come today. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, to be fair, Abe advocated for therapy at one point.
Did he?
But
it's a blur. Yeah. It's a blur.
I can tell you the page it's on. My notes are thorough. So I don't give 0.25, 0.75 ratings anymore because it got too convoluted for me. My brain wants to give it a 4.25. So by the end of this live, add effects using hand gestures? No. No, sorry. No.
Turn that off.
Jesus, what would this come to anyways?
Gavin's like, cut the camera.
Stop the live.
So by the end of this live, I'm hoping to be convinced to either a 4 or a 4.5.
Amazing.
And I love being fucking confused during a book. I like going through and having no idea what's really happening for a long time. I love eldritch horror and cosmic horror and literary horror. I love horror that relates to nature and reminds me like how small and insignificant I am. And this did that a lot. I took at least 0.25 stars off because I really thought we were going to go like full Brokeback Mountain at one point. Spoiler
Thank
alert,
you.
That would be great.
McKenna, I'm so happy you said that. Oh my God.
Good. We need to talk about this. Is a topic
We
on
have
my
to
list
talk
of
about
things to
this.
discuss.
Thank God.
If I was asked to do the synopsis instead of Gavin, I would have said like Brokeback Mountain with like less sex and more biblical fish. Like
I mean, there
that's-
is sex, but it's sex with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Woo.
There, fine, sex.
Whoa, spoilers.
Whoa. Not
This is
the
why I
fish.
come to- Look, I was so excited to talk about the coitus. Okay, I apologize. I guess my rating actually, I'm debating between a 3.5 and a 4. So I'm wondering if maybe by the end of this live show, if I can be convinced to give it a 4. As I was writing out my notes and writing down the quotes that I liked, I was like, I might actually like this more after a day of sitting on this myself. But I liked a lot of the imagery. I liked the ideas of like not having control, and if there is something higher and something more powerful than us kind of leading us towards our fates, and how that tied to fishing and the fisherman himself. I felt like a bit of a trip, a bit of a weird trip as well, trying to see some of the biblical implications through some of the actions that happened towards the end of the book. But I will say I saw a lot of people saying that they loved part 2 the most earlier on. I would probably say like I'm very hit or miss with part 2. I don't know if I loved it. I think I preferred Abe and Dan. So I think my reason why I don't want to give it too much higher than a 4 is because I'm not 100% sure of the narrative style. But yeah, that was my 1 sentence summary.
Nobody ever keeps it to 1 sentence anyway. It's fine. I'm not going to either. Okay, so what I'm looking for, or I guess not what I'm looking for in horror, but what I was looking for from this book, I think I understood it to be kind of 3 different subgenres of horror. There's the folksy, ancient horror of it. There's the grief horror, and there's cosmic horror. And I think it only really delivered for me in that first one. It had the folksy stuff, it had the ancient stuff. But what I'm looking for in a grief horror is not what this book did. And I don't, like, I know this is technically a cosmic horror. I don't think this is what I want from a cosmic horror. When people say like, oh, it was confusing and it was unexplained, I think it was too explained. So I wanted it to be even more ambiguous, but I still gave it a 3 because I liked the writing. I liked the visuals of it. I like an overwritten book, like internal monologue and just storytelling. Like, I think it's an interesting concept. So I had a good time with it, and I landed at a 3. And there's a world in which I, like everyone else, can be convinced a little bit higher or lower in this live show. I think I could bring it to a 3.5, but this is definitely not a 4-star read for me.
Okay.
I just need to say that I cannot be convinced to go high.
Well, I meant
Let's
for you
make that
lower.
clear. Let's go lower.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted, I think. Challenge accepted.
So we have a range between like a 2 to a high 4. So I feel like that's a good representation
Mid-4.
for everybody. Mid-4. Okay, getting into spoilers. So only the people remaining should be ones who have read the book or want to know everything that went on in it. I think my first question is about the characters. Like, I want to know, there were so many characters in here, and did you like following that many? Did you connect with anybody? Who and in what way, I guess, is my question.
Not really. What was the main character? Was it Jude? No. What's his name?
Abe?
Abe. Abraham. Abe. He was just like a guy, and I was like, that's cool. And then Dan was also just like a guy, and I was like, that's cool. The one person where I was like, you know what, Diva, go off, was the girly girl who came back to life. And like literally everybody was like, we don't fuck with you. And she was like, I don't fucking care. The whole book, I was like, go off. That's right, girl. That's right. Like, I was, except for the part where she like assaulted the child in the storage closet. I was like, that's a bit too much, girl. But Yeah,
I was gonna say you connected with Helen, the undead
Helen.
evil woman. Got it.
Yeah. The evil zombie lady. I was like, yay.
Oh, me? Oh, so I empathize. No, you can keep that up. Block my face. Cover me up, please. I empathize with, but don't feel connected to Dan. I unfortunately I've lost a lot of people before their time, and so I understand being at weird points of grief where you are willing to like step outside the bounds of your own morality in like desperation to get that person back. I understand that, but I don't like him. Like I don't feel connected to him, but I empathize with that part. But I felt myself putting a wall up between me and him because I fucking hate him. But I empathize with it. I do feel a little bit connected to Regina, who was Italo, his wife, because she got to whack that lady with a frying pan, and I have been maladaptive daydreaming my whole life about being in a situation where I'm able to save the people I love from physical harm. It's like a coping mechanism, right? And so I like the idea of being able to save someone I love from a zombie by, being able to take a cast iron.
Love it.
Yeah.
I just going off what McKenna said about empathizing more so than connecting, I really empathize with Abe. I've never been through anything that he's gone through, and I've never felt the compulsion to have sex with a weird fishy monster that looks like my dead wife. But like, I could understand his emotions, and I feel like that came through in the writing. I thought John, and I keep wanting to call him Josh, and I don't know why, but John Langan, I thought he did really well at depicting that emotion. And so like I felt it. I felt what he was feeling. And I thought like just from the off, I thought, oh, Abe is gonna be my man. On the first page, he said something about, I thought I would want children, but I can't stand the sight of them. And I was like, girls, absolutely, this is my kind of man. But as I feel like that we need to come back to that later, because that first line and then kind of like the last line is like, oh my gosh, it's like it made me want to raise my rating so much. But Abe is a character. Yeah, it's almost like, in Pet Sematary, the kind of desperation of grief and how that can like overtake someone. I felt that through Dan as well. But like McKenna, I really didn't like Dan, but I could empathize, and that kind of desperation I thought was done really well in the writing style. But I couldn't really fully connect like at all.
Yeah, I didn't really connect with any characters. I think that this book was far more about what the characters were going through than who they were as people. They were just kind of examples of what grief looks like. And I find that if in a grief-centric horror book, I'm looking for like emotional weight. Like I'm looking to also understand the people that we've lost. And throughout the story, I think we had like 7 dead wives by the end of it. And I, besides maybe 1.5 of them, I don't think we got to know anything about these women. And I want to say like, okay, it's a dude book. It's about dudes, and like, that's fine. And he wanted to do what he wanted to do. But the fact that he introduces all of these women and we don't know like anything about very many of them, except that they're dead and they all just got cancer and died, or got hit by a car and died. I would have liked to know them all better and why the men were grieving. Cause I think just beyond, well, my wife is dead, so obviously I'm sad. Like, why do I want to know more about them? I want to see scenes with them. If there's so much in this book, so many storylines and so many things happening, and we don't get a single scene with these men and their wives, and we didn't get to know anything about these women. I just think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. If there was one person I liked, go ahead, McKenna.
I just want to play on the gender part of it. The very first chapter is called Men Without Women. And maybe this is me reading into things, but I would like to think that John Langan is making a whole point of that out of this book about how like dumb men are and how incapable of surviving on at least straight men surviving on their own they are. Abe at one point talks about how when men are grieving or when men are feeling strong emotions, they don't talk to each other. They don't talk to other men. They do things like go fishing in silence or like grunt at each other. And that it kind of feels like every time like the wives, we don't get to know the wives, but it feels like every time a man loses a wife, he fully falls apart. Because in heterosexual marriages, at least, women carry so much of the emotional burden in the majority of cases. And I don't know how to wrap this thought up, but
I can continue on from it kind of, because I feel like when we get to that weird scene where Abe ends up having sex with Marie, that like literal explosion of emotion, I think, is because he's held it so much inside. It's like when you read, it's like a massive paragraph. I totally understand, like with like what Kayla said about like not getting to know them, because that kind of like the sort of like flashbacks almost with Marie at the very start, that's like 2 pages, like maybe 3 pages, and he's talking about it through pictures. So like he brings up a picture and he's like, oh, by the time we have the next picture, she's gone. And you know what I mean? So it's very like quick, it's very rapid fire, and it's only told through like kind of pictures. And I think what this story does quite a lot is story within a story within a story, and then having the pictures is like the story within that too. But it felt so like so broad, like there was so many things going on, so it was really hard to like none of us really connected to anyone. And I think that was because it was kind of rapid fire, so all of those emotions in the grief, it exploded in the end because it was kept to himself pretty much. And you took out like little glances into his mental health a little bit. He talks about how when he lost Marie, he was thinking how he could join her and stuff like that. Like that's kind of like a man who was like reserved to like not having to feel anything anymore and kind of just go with it. And then when the fishing comes out of nowhere, it felt like that divine kind of intervention, something higher up calling, telling him to do this in a way. But a lot of it is like not like as apparent, because I felt like maybe I was like trying to read too much into it myself as well, especially with the biblical side of things. But yeah, I just want to follow up on that.
I absolutely think it was intentional. I completely agree. And I think that's maybe why I was more irritated than anything by the like moment where he meets his wife again and they have sex. As I was like, this could have been so many other moments. Like this could have been the moment where he realized that he actually appreciated his wife, or like had a moment of memory with her, or like realized that he was useless without her, because I don't think he fully came to his own feelings and like acknowledged to the reader the problem. And there was something else I was going to say. I can't remember. I think the character, if I had to connect to somebody, the most would be Lottie, because I like that she's a woman who we got to see from the beginning to the end. And we knew she was an old woman telling her tale by the end of it. And I like her battle with Helen. I thought that was really like a powerful scene. But then again, in like the chapter right after it was about Lottie's love life and like who she was going to marry. And I was like, this woman is so traumatized, this young girl. And we're moving so quickly on from these female characters, and whether it's intentional or not for what the book wants to say, I just think it was a little bit of a wasted opportunity to highlight them, especially when at the beginning he's saying, I was like, is this bad of me? Because I was so annoyed by him at the beginning when he was like, oh, my wife's dead and now I don't have anything to eat. My wife's dead and I can't do this. And I was like, okay, so we're like kind of acknowledging that she was helpful, but also he was like, oh, and now I have to plan her whole funeral. I was like, this is unfair of me, but she's been dying for months. And if it was a woman and her husband was dying, the funeral would have started planning already. Like you would have gotten.
And she wouldn't even think to say that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you wouldn't be thinking about that. It'd be.
No.
Yeah.
We also have in the like very end when Regina we're in spoilers. Never mind. When Regina has died and now Italo has, like 45 children, because he has his and then his accidental adopted ones. As the narrator's like, everyone thought that Italo would finally go crazy because now he has 30,000 children and his wife is dead and he's going to dissolve like every other man does when their wife is dead. And he kind of does. And then the narrator goes, and actually the oldest daughter, Marie, she stepped up and she took care of 45,000 children. And some people in the town thought she was trying to marry her adoptive dad. And like, people had opinions on it, but she never did that. And she just took care of shit. Like the man couldn't and didn't.
Yeah. Can I also add that in the beginning, when he's like describing his wife and how they met, I noticed that like he was like, yeah, so she was like really young and like super hot. And like that was really appealing to me actually as like an old fucking guy, as an old crypt keeping looking motherfucker. I was really into it, big into it, huge fan. And then he was like, but also she was like really nice. So that was cool. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks, Abe. And then also it was like 2 pages where he was like, and she died. Oh, so sad. I was like, is this a fucking pixie manic dream girl? Like, what the fuck is going on? Ugh.
Okay, so Jordan, did you prefer Abe and Dan's story, or did you prefer being inside the other story with like those bajillion other people?
Okay, let me be honest. For Abe and Dan, I was spending most of the time shipping them together.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
I was like, no, there's so much homoerotic subtext within your friendship. Like, let's be honest. But then also when we got to the second story, it was generally more interesting. And then also there was also some homoerotic subtext. And there was also like one line. I don't have the physical book, so I don't know. I listened to the audiobook. But there was one line where somebody was like, yeah, that guy's a queer fellow. And I was like, excuse me? What did you say? What? Queer what? And so, but I think the story within the story, the like legend, the myth is more interesting than Dan and, no, Dan and Abe. The secret is I didn't read the book. I did, but that story was more interesting. My struggle was with when they went to go like defeat the fisherman to save Marie. Is that her name? I think it was. That part I was like coming in and out of consciousness with that part of the audiobook. Like I would literally go like 20 minutes listening and then realize that all of it just like went through my head and I didn't process anything. So I had to go back. That happened like 3 times. So up until that point, I was like, this is okay. And then when we got to that point, I was like, what's going on? And I'm honestly a little bit confused, but maybe that's why I don't like it. Yeah, that's my.
First of all, Gavin, I think that you should start a book club, a traders book club, where you pick one person on the live stream to not read the book.
Oh,
that's such a good idea.
And then a trader. Oh my god! And you actually phone. And these are my first guests.
Yeah.
These are my first guests.
Bro, and then like during the live stream, the people can vote like who they think it is, and that person gets like voted off the island, like booted.
Kicked out the live.
I can't imagine the anxiety of coming to a live show, having not read the book, and having to lie.
I have
like,
so
I
much
also
anxiety
love,
right now.
I agreed. I also loved that. Mm-hmm.
Bro, even if I read the book, right now, I'm out.
I liked the internal story better. Okay. Obviously. I like that we got more characters. I like that. I think that it goes to the theme, we're following the theme of Moby Dick, right? Which is about knowing the unknowable and like learning the cosmic secrets of the universe and whatever. And I think
McKenna, did you really write 85 pages of fucking notes? I'm literally, bro, I'm like, she came so prepared. Like, I'm sitting here like, the doy, I thought the 2 guys should kiss.
Listen to me.
And you're like, actually, it Moby Dick. Like, what? Sorry, what were you? I'm sorry.
I treated this like I was studying for the SATs and going on a date. I studied for 12 hours and I shaved my legs, Shoreline. All right?
All 3 of us are getting married to McKenna after this live stream. It's like literally gonna happen. Love. I'm literally so impressed. I'm not even joking. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you. you so much. That's literally, I can leave now. That's what I needed to hear from you. What the fuck was I saying?
Moby Dick.
Moby
You
Dick.
said you shaped the
Moby
legs
Dick,
as well. I think you said
cosmic
you shaped the
horror.
legs.
Oh, right. Knowing the unknowable. I I think that I felt connected to the story best when it was a story within a story within a story within a story, because it kind of tells you how it goes with the theme. It kind of tells you how many layers and how many different people have to be involved. That's my boyfriend. How many people have to be involved for you to even begin to uncover any secrets of the universe, right? No one person is going to know everything. You have to know 10 or 15 people's stories before you even start to understand the bigger picture of what's happening in any regard. Okay, I'm done.
Love it.
I'm gonna say the opposite. I actually preferred Abadan.
Up and down, yeah.
Abadan, yeah, Abe and Dan's sections, because I mean, I did like the middle part, absolutely, but some of it just came. I was getting myself a little bit lost and confused with some of it, because we're supposed to believe that this guy called Howard, and I always say never trust a guy who shares a name with a duck. And Howard is not the kind of person you would want telling you a story that would take you at least 5 to 6 hours with that much detail. And this is supposed to be Dan and Abe off on an adventure, and they're just sitting there and just listening to this for like 5 to 6 hours in miraculous detail. I couldn't really suspend my disbelief on that front, because by the time you got 10 minutes in, I would have said, "Come just skip to the end, please. I don't have time for all of this. Just want to go fishing." But I did love some of it. I did love the parts with like Helen and like how terrifying that was, and how she came back. There was some really scary stuff there, and also the idea that people were murdering people. Like there was a guy, what was his name? There was a guy called Otto, I believe, who cut his own throat out of nowhere. There was a guy who shot his boss and his wife or girlfriend, and then there was really weird, bizarre, random things happening. I was okay, this is really interesting. But then when it got to like more so the confrontation with the fisherman and all of that, and there was like a battle with weapons and swords and stuff, I was like, this is maybe like a little bit too out of my comfort zone. I haven't really read a whole lot of cosmic or stuff to do with that, and it kind of took me a little bit out of the story. What I kind of wanted out of this story for myself was I wanted to see the Abe and Dan parts, because I wanted to see what would happen to them. I wanted to see what would happen to them going to Dutchman's Creek and how that horror would unfold. So by sandwiching them like on the outskirts of this massive backstory, this huge story, I don't know, it kind of took a little bit away from me. I totally appreciate it though. I do appreciate building up the fisherman as this kind of like urban legend kind of person, and the implications of that, what it did to Helen, and all of that. But I do prefer the song in the end. I do. There was more horror there as well for me. I love the imagery of like the fish. I loved like that. I mean, I think one of the next questions, or a question coming up, was like a favorite scene, and like some of my favorite scenes were with Abe and Dan, and I just felt it was a lot more gross horror with them and what they were going through. But yeah, so I was surprised lots of people prefer part 2.
Yeah, I agree. I preferred Dan and Abe, and I wanted to be back with them more often. I think in my ideal world, this is a short story collection, like of interconnected short stories, kind of like how Out There by Kate Folk has a couple stories where like it's the same concept and they tie together. I'm sure there are other examples, or like how High We Go in the Dark, where it's like we're independently visiting people, but everything's connected in the end. And we find out, I also really like this. Isn't that death, though? Isn't that grief? So many layers and versions of faith. And I think that's such an interesting thought, is that this whole thing is like a metaphor for grief. It's like we have to keep going deeper and deeper in different layers to really understand yourself and what you're experiencing. But I think I liked them both equally. I did always want to get back to Dan and Abe, though. I wanted them interspliced more. I think in my perfect world, this is set up like we actually start with learning about Cornelius. I think that it would have been more interesting learning about Cornelius and the guest, because that was the most intriguing section to me when I got there, was like, who is this man going to his house? And like his wife died, and what was he doing there? Was he helping her? Did he kill her? I would have liked to start out there and then maybe go 100 years in the future, Dan and Abe find this thing. And then we jump back to learning about Rainer and Clara and Lottie. And then we go and we see a scene with Abe and Marie, and we get their relationship and their marriage and like a little scene with them. Then we go back and we meet Wilhelm and Rainer together, because there's black magic in this story. And how is it only 2 pages? I don't understand how the author thought that was satisfying enough. It's like we meet these professors and they find these books and they learn this new language, and like they learn the word for light, and suddenly the lights turn on in the room, and that's it. That's all we get from this like magical professor storyline. Is crazy. So I would have liked that. And then maybe we meet Dan and Sophie and the twins, and we get like a little more emotional weight with all of these characters. And then we can still have horror in every scene somehow, but then it's all just kind of connected by the end. So that's my answer to the question.
Can I go back briefly to Gavin's comment about the part where Howard's like, let me tell you this story. They're in a diner. Howard has a job. Howard works at the diner, and it's like 5-6 hours, bro.
Well,
the dude transcribed.
I kind of imagined it as like we're outside of time at this moment, because like, really, are they really sitting there for 6 hours? Or is it kind of like they feel so sucked into the story that they feel like they were there for so long? So then
did Abe so Howard was like, here's the bullet points. And then Abe later was like, let me add detail to this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because that's the whole thing, is like one of my favorite scenes. We might as well get to that question, I guess, next, is when he says like, oh, I left the table and I remembered this scene. And he was like, wait, Howard never told me that. I never heard that. So so it's like he is getting little information, but it's the fact that there was another line that I really liked where he said, it was like the story had been inserted inside of me. So I don't know if they were actually listening this long, or if it was just, this is the entire story. We're getting the entire story, and eventually the men understood the story.
Interesting. Okay. That makes more sense than them sitting there for 5 hours when they're supposed to go fishing.
But maybe they were. I don't really know.
I think that somehow the story also, when the story is told, it hypnotizes people in a way, because there was a lot of talk of stories persisting through time, and stories like that's the way that a story goes on and is not forgotten by moving from part to part. And it said that Howard seemed like he had a sense of relief after he told the story, as though he gave a piece of it away. And in the beginning, Abe, as the narrator, is talking to us saying, what does he say? He's talking about getting rid of his part of the story. And by telling it to us, by writing it down, will it ease his burden a little bit? And the way that Howard reacted after he told the story, it feels like the story itself is a character, and it's trying to persist through. Are you guys laughing at me?
Sorry, no, just a comment. Sorry, we're reading the comments. I'm listening, I promise.
Me too. I was laughing at how it had tucked it inside me. I mean, because I also read that, but in a different way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, McKenna. Continue.
No. I was like, oh, I'm talking for too long.
No, you're not at all.
Keep talking.
Absolutely not.
No.
Well, I'm done now, I think.
Okay, I guess I'll ask directly favorite scenes. Jordaline, you gave me 2 stars, but there's got to be something.
I'm literally sitting here being like, what was really good? What was I like enraptured by? That's not a word. The first thing that came to my head.
I was gonna say, like, any of the horror scenes, Jordaline, because I feel like you like some of the gory stuff. Like, did you like any of the gory stuff?
I did like it when that one guy got murked by his friends, and then they were all like, oh shit. But then horrifyingly, they left his body there, and they were like, sorry, sods, dude. I guess you're here for eternity. Bummer. And then Although, actually, no, I really liked the part where at the very end, spoilers, the Dan is like, "We're gonna be here forever. Isn't that really cool?" And Abe, I keep trying to call him Jude. Jude is like, "I don't want that, my guy." And then Dan's wife and children start gnawing on him like he's a little bone, and I was like, "That's gnarly, dude. I really like that." So maybe that was my favorite part of the book when Dan died.
That was a beautiful part. I loved when Dan died. I loved not having to hear him anymore. I had two favorite scenes. I actually liked when zombie Helen cornered Lottie in like the storage unit thing, and when Lottie is like, "Oh, what is this strange language that's not really language? Oh, suddenly I'm hallucinating," right? Zombie Helen is giving her like psychedelic breath, and she's hallucinating being over this giant ocean with a bunch of people in it that are whispering like their worst thoughts and their worst secrets. I thought that was really visceral, and also, again, I'm probably reading into it, just like personal stuff going in, but it feels a lot like when someone has really bad OCD and they struggle with intrusive thoughts. And I cannot imagine being presented with a version of myself that's just like in my face telling me all of the worst intrusive thoughts I've ever had over and over again. I would take drastic measures against that me. Like that, I cannot fucking imagine being presented with that. And so that was a really cool scene. And then also the boy band traveling to the house to go in, the boy group of boys traveling to the house to go into the fisherman realm, right? I am always going through like the woods that are covered in water, right?
I thought you were being literal. I was like, what boy band?
The boy band, right?
Like,
so
were the Backstreet Boys in it?
The part of the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC had like a battle of the bands. My favorite part. No, when they were traveling, I'm always looking for books that make me feel like Piranesi, because that's one of the best books I've ever read in my life, and nothing feels like Piranesi. But I got tiny little Piranesi vibes going up to the house, and the woods are full of water, and that's not supposed to be there, but it just is, and we're accepting it. And then we walk into the house, and the house is actually a forest, and it's not supposed to be there, but we're just accepting it. And I was like, I want to read 500 pages just of these little snippets of like weird house.
The boy band.
Yeah,
I know. I would have been thinking about that now for a very long time.
For the rest of my life.
I think McKenna's
I loved the part where Instinct showed up.
When did that happen? Tell me the page.
Like, in the fucking,
I know they got a book upside down as well. Like, that's all that. I love that. I have two like favorite scenes. I think one of them was the dream that Abe had at the beginning, where he hooks Marianne, and like she's got the hook through her lips, and she's like, "What's lost is lost" and stuff. I really like that. It really set the tone. But I think my favorite scene was when Abe and Dan finally get to the creek, and Abe pulls in the fish, and he's like, "Oh, I've caught this fish," and Dan's like, "That's not a fish," and he looks at it, and it's like the skull fishy kind of thingamabobby. That was probably like the creepiest part of it, which I was like, "Oh, this is fantastic." But I also did really like, well, in retrospect, I do really like the fishy sex part, because can I ask, did you guys think that she got pregnant from that, and then the two children next to her at the end were his kids? Yeah. So that's why I think it was like really important.
Ew! I didn't even speak of that. Oh no!
Yeah.
No!
Think of it. They had his mother's nose.
Yeah.
No!
And there was like the statue that was pregnant. The statue that was pregnant, like when right after, and like that's the mother, and she's talking about all this and the other. So that's why I kind of like the fact that it kind of happened, because it tied back to the very start, like when I mentioned the quote before about there was a time I thought I'd like at least one child with the sight that makes my skin crawl, and then we go back to the final line. It's like that kid has my mother's nose. It's kind of like, oh, like those little fishy monsters you've actually given birth to. And he was talking about the fact that him and his wife never had kids, and I just kind of I loved that imagery, the kind of like the birth of that, in the fact that they do like past the statue of the mother in talking about that. It just, I don't know, it scratched a little part of my brain because I was like, why in the world is there this? Because yeah, he does, just out of nowhere, he's grieving, he's crying, and then he's like, I touched her breasts and I was inside her and there was heat enough for both of us.
Stop
I was like, why?
Yeah,
Like,
I
why?
like that he wasn't just grieving his wife necessarily. It was like he was also grieving the life that he never had, because
While touching her boobs, bro.
Yes,
it's like the
very
kid's being
important.
there is like grieving this life that he is never going to have. So, but he got his like fish children by the end.
Can I say something inappropriate?
Yes.
Please.
Yes, obviously. Please.
So, let's see. If Abe impregnates his fish wife and then she has these fish baby, these tadpoles, you could say. What about when Helen's husband came back and vomited up the tadpoles? So what kind of sex was he having?
Exactly.
Oral.
How'd the tadpoles get in his stomach?
No, bro, shit, that's the thing. She couldn't get pregnant because she swallowed.
Exactly. Listen, that man said.
I need to leave, dude. I'm not okay.
I'm
unwell,
back
bro.
no matter what. I will get my wife back no matter what, even if it takes fucking and sucking to do it. And I'm here. I'm gay to say.
We're talking about fish, McKenna. We're talking about fish, and you just said fucking and sucking.
I'm sorry, he loved his wife so much he went full gay for pay. Right?
You guys thought we were just doing a horror book club. In fact, this is a monster fucker romance.
I'm so sorry.
Kind of was, though.
Dick to save my wife too.
We all would, McKenna, but doesn't mean I would tell the world.
Sue me.
I actually my two favorite scenes are the exact ones that Gavin just said, so I have nothing to add. I liked the fishing scenes. I liked when he pulled up his wife in the dream. I liked when he found the scary fish skull. I liked anytime he talked about fishing because I'm really into fishing. I've never caught a fish, but I just go out there and I stand there and I listen to audiobooks and it's great. And he was talking about like, oh, I use this fishing pole and this fishing rod and I've never used a bait caster. And I was like, I know what a bait caster is and I am incredible. So that made me really happy.
Round of applause.
I've only ever used a bait caster, so I feel like I'm better than Dan now. Or better than Abe. Favorite quotes? I wrote down, we were talking about language. I like the idea that these characters, like, you kind of learn a language once you die. It's like they can speak in a different kind of language. And it said the accent is what you'd imagine if an animal learned how to speak. Something that wasn't trying to master your particular language, but the idea of language itself. I love that quote. So that was my favorite. If anyone else has any other ones. I don't feel like this was a really quotable book. Like it didn't have like beautiful language. I think the most interesting scenes to me were like the gross ones with the tadpoles and the vomiting and the crazy stuff. I don't feel like there was a lot to really pull out for me, but maybe there was for you.
I think my favorite quote was probably the part where he was like, "Oh, he's queer." Like that was my favorite quote. So that's my contribution.
I have like a lot written down. Sorry. Also, first of all, to get into the mood of reading this book, I was in fact using my grandmother's death certificate as a bookmark. So I'm gonna move that one over there for a second. Hold on. It's what I had. It's from, I just got back from Ireland and I had to spread some ashes. I was supposed to spread some ashes over there. I forgot. But so yeah, I have a little baggie of my grandma's ashes in my toiletry bag right now because I forgot to actually spread them in Ireland. But I had to bring this with me so I didn't get arrested. So
it's almost like your grandma read the book a little bit too.
She really did. She
kind of did.
Ireland. She had a great time. Anyway, I pulled out 3 to 5 quotes that are all about learning the unknown and deciding that you don't want it anymore. It's like, what if Ahab actually catches his white whale? There's nothing for him after that, and also knowing the unknown it's not what you want. On page 2, he says, some things are so bad that just to have been near them taints you. leaves a spot of badness in your soul like a bare patch in the forest where nothing will grow.
I also highlighted that one.
Yeah, do you suppose a story can carry away such badness? It seems a bit much to hope for, doesn't it? Which is what happened when Howard told his story. It seemed like it carried away a bit of the badness. And then into page 3, can a story haunt you, possess you? There are times I think recounting the events of that Saturday in June is just an excuse for those more distant events to make their way out into the world once more. And then on page 29, there are some things, no matter if they're true, you can't live with them. You have to refuse them. You turn your eyes away from whatever's squatting right there in front of you. And not only pretend it isn't there now, but that you never saw it in the first place. You do so because your soul is a frail thing that can't stand the blast furnace, heat of revelation, and truth be damned, what else can a body do? And that's, a lot of that is about coping mechanisms and the things that your body instinctually does to protect you from these horrible things. And you know, you find out these unknowable things. You don't know about grief until you've grieved, right? You can't possibly know what it feels like to lose someone until you have. And as a kid, a lot of people spend their childhoods wanting to become a grown-up. I want to get grown up so fast. And then once you become a grown up, you realize it's kind of just a succession. Okay, this is an extreme, but it's kind of just a succession of like learning bad things. Being grown up is not all it's chalked up to be. And so you get here and you're like, wait, let me come back. Let me go back to the beginning. Let me be a child again where I don't know these unknowable things, where I haven't caught my white whale. And Lottie, even in the end of her part of the story, Lottie has this whole, I'm just going to read it from here. On page 192, Lottie has this whole quote, Lottie will be swept by the certainty that this is the dream, is all the invention, the yield of an adolescent imagination desperate for experience. If only she can find her way back to the blank space that borders dreaming and remain there long enough to navigate its gray emptiness, then the next time she opens her eyes, it will be to Clara calling her to come downstairs to kiss her father before he's off to the university. So everyone goes through finding things out in this book, and then they go, I don't want to know this anymore. I want to go back to the beginning.
Love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm so excited to read your book report, McKenna.
I will send you guys my notes afterwards.
Please. I'm actually, yes.
God, I love that you've started this now. You've started this now, McKenna, though. You've started it.
Unfortunately, this being your very first time live on the internet is going to turn you into making your own book club now.
Yeah.
I am going to make my own book club, and it's going to be nonfiction because I am going to make all of you guys read David Attenborough. So sorry.
I knew you'd bring them up somewhere. My favorite quote is on page 59. It is Dan's mouth crashed into mine as we explode each other's bodies.
No!
I'm kidding. But it is on page 59. But I think my copy's different to your guys because mine starts on page 3 and I don't have a page 1 and 2. Oh. So I think mine's different. But it's about, okay, it's just a tiny little line. It says, the fish had been hooked and was twisting as if though it fought its fate. So why I like that one is because I do think when we talk about the themes of this book, that lack of control and the idea that someone else is pulling us along. So because also you mentioned like fishermen are storytellers. That was another thing that kind of tied to it. And I was like, oh, I like that because yeah, fishermen can be storytellers. They're telling us a story. And through that, we get the idea that the fish are the unwilling participants in their story kind of thing, which is probably like a weird way of putting it. But because of the lack of control in so many things, like the idea that when Abe suddenly wants to do fishing, it's kind of like something higher up is telling him to do that. When that journal appears next to Dan and he sees about his grandfather's journal, he said, oh, that appeared in my car and I didn't realize how that got there kind of thing. Like he doesn't remember putting it there. That felt like it was out of his control. Some of the horror that happened in part 2 was like it seemed like it happened out of no one's control as well. So I think that it just made me feel a little bit like yeah, we're all swimming in this ocean of not sure like who is guiding us, or if we are even being guided. Like, are we lost? Are we like, is there an end goal? Is there a path? Is there someone trying to eat us? You know what I mean? It's just like, it felt like I was swimming in a world of anything could happen. So it was very sobering. It was a very sobering line, because I was like, oh wait, this is making me feel a bit existential. So it was a trip. It's a tiny line, but it was a trip thinking about like, oh, are we the fish? Are we the fish?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're being lured. We're being hooked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really liked, but one of the quotes you pulled up, Kayla, that someone posted in here, the one about becoming one with the earth, about going deeper, further down into the earth. Yes, I love that. I do like that one too.
Maybe she'd made her way out of it into the soil of the water until she was part of things.
Yeah. You die, you don't leave, you just become more.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we've covered a lot of the themes. Is there anything else anyone noted they want to talk about? I think for me, there was like obviously a theme of toxic masculinity in a way, where Abe at the beginning is like, well, surely I can't just invite Dan over to chat. Like we have to be doing something. It's not manly to like hang out and talk about our feelings. So I like that he acknowledged that. And then,
but then he did the gayest thing possible, and he was like, let me invite him over for a date. Like, I was like, that's a date, my guy. You invited him over for dinner. Like, what do you, okay. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
I do think the fact that we had 40 characters and not one of them was gay was like kind
a
of
little suspicious.
Suspicious. I also, there's some kind of theme, I don't know exactly what I'm talking about here, but with the idea of leaving, not caring what you leave behind, and the older generation being like, well, we fucked up the world and like we don't care and we're just gonna leave the people behind with nothing. Because there was the scene where they actually take the fisherman down and they send him out to sea. Like, I loved that scene. And he was like, well, surely he's going to be gone for a couple decades now. We don't have to worry about it anymore. And then Italo says, and what if it's our children who must answer for what we've done, or our grandchildren? And Rainer says, we'll be dead and beyond caring. I was like, that is such a perspective that a lot of people have, where they're just like, the world's fucked, but like, I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's an eco horror.
It is.
It's kind of an eco horror. I did have one more theme that I was thinking about. You know, the different types of love and caring that we can show to the people that we love, or like the different acts of love that we can do. There's at least one example of every level in this book, from the huge acts that we can do for the people that we love, which is like feeding yourself to a leviathan in order to get your family back, to the medium, which is like a mother using a frying pan on a zombie to protect her kids, to the small, because at one point Lottie talks about having that very sobering growing up realization that all of us have at some point, most of us have at some point, which is, oh, my parents aren't these gods. My parents aren't these huge figures. Those are just people. Those are just real people going through life for the first time. And she has this very sobering realization. My parents are just people and they're feeling their feelings. And then she wants to protect them. Her first instinct is to go and throw her arms around them and give them a huge hug because they're people and they need that comfort. But she doesn't. And she says that she doesn't do it in order to protect them. And she's protecting them from, I think, realizing what their daughter realizes, and realizing that their daughter is growing up and their kid is, you know, becoming more of an adult, and also protecting them from maybe feeling too vulnerable and too seen and that kind of stuff. So it's all these different layers of love you can show someone.
This is an interesting point.
Yeah. Could I don't know if you guys saw of any of like the biblical stuff. Like, could you see like the Bible could be a big theme in this, just with, because I really did think of like the first murder with Abel and Cain when Dan tried to murder Abe. I was thinking of that, and then at the end with like kind of the flooding as well, and it was like, oh, that's almost like, you know, like a Noah's Ark kind of thing. And you know, I don't know what I can personally say about it, because I don't really know too much about like the Bible and religion and stuff, but it did feel like there was a lot of like implications in that, especially when I was thinking about the first murder and then Dan trying to murder Abe.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why he was called Abe? And it's because, especially too, he was like, don't call me Abraham, that's not my name, I'm Abe. Whoa, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
Abe and Abel. Abel.
Well,
Yeah, Abel. Whoa, that's crazy. I didn't even think of that.
I don't know anything about the Bible. I have zero religion in my life, but I looked it up a few nights ago, and in the Bible, so Moby Dick, right? We have the Moby Dick parallels. In the Bible, Ishmael is Abraham's bastard son. So Moby Dick opens with "Call me Ishmael," and this book opens up with "Don't call me Abraham." So he's like very specifically trying to remove himself from Bible references, which I would do too if I came face to face with like the Leviathan which is from the Bible. Yeah, so I think he's very specifically trying to separate himself from any of that shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I keep thinking about rereading Moby Dick because it's been like 20 years. I'm like, I can't do that to myself.
I pretended to read it.
There's a sapphic retelling called Hell's Hall that's just come out. I don't know if you've seen.
It's getting horrible reviews. I want to read it, but it's getting it's so sad.
Well,
what's it called? What's it called? Okay, that's rude.
It's called Hell's Hot.
Hell's Hot? Okay, I'm sorry.
Heart.
Hell's Hot. Yeah,
I see it. I've seen that. Yeah.
It was an ALC a couple of weeks ago.
Was it? Hell's Hot. I was like, ooh,
no shit.
Yes. It is hot. I think my favorite theme of the book was the fish stag.
My favorite theme was the fish sex.
The fish stag. The part where he had sex with a fish, that was my favorite.
Least favorite scenes. I feel like I've talked about a lot of my rants already. There was one moment where the story inside the story got a little too much for me, and I almost checked out of it because there was the moment where Rainer was finally explaining to all of the men he was with the origin of the fisherman. Like, we finally got the answers to it, and the boys kept like interrupting him. They were like, "Is that character the fisherman? Is that guy the fisherman?" I was like, "Shut up and let him talk." And it was like he didn't like to be rushed. I was like, "No shit, like please." Okay, that's why I wish it was a short story collection, because then I could have like intentionally gone into that one and been like, here is the story of the origin of the fisherman finally, rather than like someone telling that story. I found that a little bit annoying, but I did want the origin story, so I'm happy it was there. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's really hard to say. Like I really connected to so much of the book. It's just I think maybe the sex part where he had sex with a fish. I think that might have been my least favorite.
That was the only part you read.
That was your favorite and least favorite?
It was the only part she read. That's why.
Traitor.
No, actually, I didn't even read it. I just read fan fiction about it. Can you imagine? I hope. Oh my god, I'm gonna look if there's fan fiction after this.
There's no way.
Write it.
There has to be. Rule 43. Guys. Bro, if there is, I'm gonna write it.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm gonna write it, but I'm gonna make it gay. Anyway.
Can I ask a question really quick? If you guys felt like there was a reason for giving Lottie and Jacob the same last name, because I feel like there was something I was missing, like some kind of implication of why John Langan would give them the same last name. And I want to know if anyone else has any thoughts. Not you guys specifically, but even the comments, like why that would have been a thing if we were trying to like I don't know, because I was thinking like Jacob and Lottie are going to get married, and then maybe if she takes his last name, she doesn't actually have to change anything. Like, is there some type of like metaphor here or what?
Wait, she had his last name before they were married?
They both have the same last name, like Lottie.
They're both Schmidt.
They're both Schmidt. So it was like Lottie and her parents, Rainer and Clara, they were all the Schmidt family. And then we met Jacob, and he also had the last name Schmidt. And it was like they aren't related. And I was like, then why have the same last name? Like, what was there has to be a point to it. And I want to know what it is besides me making the reference in my head of Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. I was like, why did you name him Jacob, and why is he have the last name Schmidt?
Maybe they are related and they just don't know it.
John couldn't resist the joke. He couldn't resist it.
It wasn't after she was married. It was before that, because her whole family had the last name.
What if they're like distant cousins?
I totally get that. I totally get that it's a common name, but like there has to be a reason for it, right? Because why wouldn't every character in the book have the same last name then? Like there has to be a reason for it.
Yeah, there was a line specifically where John Langan goes, Jacob Smith of no relation to Lottie.
Mhm.
Like it's very specifically says,
That's
not
weird.
here. Maybe
Okay.
maybe they are related.
I like this one because the dad, that's like the Hungarians versus the Austrians or whatever. Maybe it's like to give them a
Oh.
commonality.
Yeah,
Maybe like kind of like we all come from the same place.
it's a good
Okay.
one.
That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that, to be fair.
I think
it's
they're
important because
cousins.
everything is so intentional in this book. There has to be a reason for it. Okay, anyway,
Cousins are
sorry.
related.
Kenny,
Was
you
I
rated
still
this the
talking?
highest. Do you have a least favorite scene?
Say your sentence one more time.
You rated it the highest of anybody, but did you still have a least favorite scene? that you
Oh yeah,
can recall?
absolutely. I didn't like the way they handled the magic books. It felt really like Disney Channel to me. I think with a few extra pages in there, they could have like made it. The rest of the book feels like literary horror. Like it's well written. It's not. There's a lot of metaphor and layers in there. I think that with just a few extra pages, they could have made it not so. And then I found a magic book and I waved my magic invisible wand and then suddenly it was dark. Like I that felt like almost cartoony compared to the rest of the book.
Yeah, there was something, because I also felt it quite cartoonish in part 2, which is why I wasn't the biggest fan of it. There was a part where they had to like find a flower or something, and then like a paragraph later it said something about the journey was arduous, or like it took so long. But I'm like, this is the kind of story where there's a lot of waffle, but there's like it's a long-winded way of telling this story, and it's in part 2, and I'm like, but why is this part of it? I'm trying to find the part. I didn't write it down for some reason, but it was just like it's so there's lots happening. And yet there was like this one part where they're talking about collecting this flower, doing this thing before confronting the fisherman.
Yeah, but it's page 187.
Oh, it might be different on my copy. It might be different on my copy.
On my copy it's 187 where they kept it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
How do you know that? How do you know?
The notes are thorough.
Can I somehow share my screen with you right now? Because I can show you.
I can imagine
show
you
you
have a
how
lot,
I take notes on every
Bro, I need screenshots after this. I'm not even joking.
I'll send you a screen. I'll send you the whole note.
Please, dude. I'm begging. Sorry, Gavin.
I remember where, like, I can, when you underline things, like I don't tab or anything, but I remember exactly where it is on the page, but I can't exactly remember the page. So I'm looking at every single right-sided page, like every odd page, because I know it's on one page in the UK edition. So I'm looking at that, but like, yeah, but that's what I mean. It's just like, oh, hang on, I found it. Yeah, I got mine's like 245. Mine might be a little, I might be thinking of something else, but like it's saying like our mission was simple. We were, well, my copy's like 400 pages, so I guess your copy probably like a little bit thinner. But our mission was simple. We were to make our way to the other side of the city, where we would find a necropolis, to locate a certain grave, pluck a flower, blah blah blah. And then like literally the start of the next paragraph, we succeeded. It was a difficult journey. And I'm just like, you mentioned so much about like talking about this massive story, and you're just saying, oh, it was a difficult journey. Well, like, describe it to me. You've described everything else. So I was a bit pissed off with that. That's about it.
No, I agree. I think that they gave too little details there, and then too many details in other places, like with the Leviathan and like knowing the unknowable. I think we should have known less about like the big unknowable. I think it should have been a more vague monster, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would have liked to know more about that fucking journey. What the hell?
Maybe we could have known less about his wife's tits and more about literally everything else.
Jordaline, hold on, I'm going to stop you. I actually would like to know more about his wife's tits, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Jordaline.
You know what? I take it back. I want to know about her tits too. Okay.
Listen, I'm so sorry. I'm gayer than you, Jordaline.
Devastated. No, my lifelong love of tits has been outruled. No.
I mean, if we were going to get another explicit scene, I would have liked it to be between Cornelius and his guest, because like that's the gayest thing ever.
Yes, thank you.
I wrote on the page, it was like everyone was like, who's Cornelius's guest? Who's this guy? I was like, they're gay. Hello?
I think that's who they called queer. They were like his guest, a queer guy, and I was like, no, they're gay, dude.
Yeah.
Also, because his wife died, and then they were like,
Lavender
he's gonna
marriage.
remarry. He never did. He
Yeah, I know.
never
I
remarried.
was like, he was like, he's never taken another suitor or whatever. I was like, are you sure? He has a man living with him.
Well,
He's
first
never
of
dated
all,
again.
his wife again was like 20 years younger than him, so it's another
Mhm.
my hot young wife who maybe she's also kind. We don't know.
Poor Beatrice.
Lavender marriage, first of all.
Yeah,
Absolutely a lavender marriage.
for
And
sure.
then she dies, and he's like, oh, great. My wizard not boyfriend gets to move in with me. It's fun. Yeah.
Okay, I've got
He
3
was
more
kind of a
questions
wizard.
for you. Could you predict what was coming? Did you anticipate everything that happened in the story? Because I feel like a lot of times with mystery thriller horror books, we want to be shocked. Could you predict what was happening or no? There was one. I feel like I didn't quite love the element that both Abe and Dan got their wives like ghost fishy, and they both kind of got to interact with them again, because I thought it would be a little bit different. My prediction was that we were going to go into the end, and one of them, specifically Abe, was going to like be fully invested in getting his wife back and do like rituals, and like he was like fully invested, and then Dan was going to have to pull him out of it. And I thought that was going to be the end of the story, and then the men were going to walk into the sunset together. And I felt really strongly about that, because Abe showed so many more moments within the book that he could be more easily swayed and convinced into the unknowable, into the fables. There was specifically this one scene at the restaurant when they first got to the diner, and he was looking at this painting, and he said, every time I looked at the painting, I saw a different thing. And I thought that this was kind of a metaphor for him having more of an imagination than Dan, and being able to see things from different perspectives and be easily buy into this like idea that he could get his wife back. And I really thought he was going to descend into madness at the end, and Dan was going to have to pull him out. So I couldn't predict the ending, because I didn't think either of the men were going to die. And I don't know if I dislike or like that element, but that's not what I thought was going to happen.
I thought the opposite. I kind of was like, Dan's gonna go crazy, and then what's his face is gonna be like, no. But also, I feel like Abe was like not into it. Or okay, I feel like he would have been into it had the fish girlfriend, his fish wife, not shown her true color.
Mm-hmm.
The craziest sentence I've ever said in my life. But I feel like if she hadn't shown her fish skull face, then he probably would have been like, no, yeah, Dad, let's stay here forever and be heterosexual.
Fair.
But yeah, I was like, no, Dan's gonna do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it was foreshadowed, but I just didn't think that he was going to commit to fully killing one of these men.
Because he did say at the very start of the book, like, poor Dan, like, I lost a friend, but I just thought he meant like they fell out or something like that. I didn't think he'd actually like kill the man.
I assumed that he was dead from the beginning.
Oh no.
Yeah, me too.
I thought maybe it was ambiguous. It was like maybe he's just like off in another realm with his wife. Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a nicer book.
Like a happily ever after with his fish wife.
So optimistic.
Yeah. Jordan, have you never watched The Shape of Water?
I have. I love that movie. This is not bad, girly girl. This is not bad.
I'm just saying you can be very happy with a fish partner. You know?
Oh, very happy. But when it's this, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
Nope.
Really?
Oh, you
Yeah,
have
I will.
to.
I will. I'm so behind. I'm so
You
behind
need
on
some more
movies.
Guillermo del Toro in your life.
Yeah.
I do.
You need to, after this.
I will.
Watch party.
After this,
Fish
you need
fucking
to watch it.
party. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I could not predict that this was going to be another Man is the Real Monster book. I assumed with a title like The Fisherman and knowing what it was going to be about, I thought for sure the villain is going to be like the cosmic horror, the Leviathan, the Fisherman was going to be a cosmic horror. So yeah, I was shocked that it was just like this dude who gained almost eternal life, who like wrangles a Leviathan instead. So man is the monster all along. I did, however, predict at the time of the fish sex scene, my brain immediately went, he's gonna get her pregnant. So I knew about the babies. I knew about the tadpoles.
I was so blindsided by it until I got to that last line, but it was good. But I kind of similar to Kayla as well. I thought maybe this would be a story about Abe trying to get his wife back because out of all of the wives that we ended up learning about, I feel like Marie was probably the one that we learned the most about, but even then it was still like quite like not enough. But I did think like he would try and get her back. So I was a little bit confused. Well, not confused, but I didn't exactly see that switch coming at the end that Abe would be the one. Because I saw Abe and Dan as two sides of grief. I saw Abe as the one who accepts it, and then Dan is the one who rejects it by that point. So I thought maybe it would be like Dan who would be the one who accepts grief and then lets kind of Abe try and be with his wife again. But yeah, I didn't expect it to kind of like flip that. But I did like that one of them try to kill the other because that made it a lot more exciting. But it was just it was a bit random in the end though, with Dan coming back to his house and running off because of the flamethrower kind of thing. Like that was a little bit random for me, a little bit too random. But everything else, I felt like maybe it was just a shock because I haven't really read too many stories like this at all.
Okay, will you read from him again? I like, even though I gave this a 3, I'm going to say no, just because I feel like I don't prioritize this type of horror very often. I'm glad that I did, but it's not my favorite style, so I'm going to say no. But he does write a lot of short story collections apparently, so maybe that actually might be more my speed.
I don't know. I honestly do not know any of his other books. I don't think I will because it's not really like my kind of thing. It's like, I don't know, I'm kind of more into like, hey, this is gay, but also really horrifying and scary.
Really?
You know? I don't know if you could tell. Yeah, I don't think I would. So yeah.
I mean, I would, but he said it took him like 15 years to write this book, and I think he's like 70. So I don't know if this question matters. Honestly, I think this might be it.
Bleak.
Sorry, John Langan.
If he writes another one that has a good premise, I might check it out because I'm still going to keep it at a 3.5 though. After our discussion, I was like, should I do a 4? But I think after our discussion, I think 3.5 still, which is still a really good rating, but it would really depend on the premise. It's one of those things. He's not a new autobi author. I'm not the biggest short story kind of person, but I could be convinced depending. So I'm up in the air.
Fair. It seems like most people are saying no, but we had some people who like absolutely love this book. So I like that a couple people found a favorite author.
He has one other book and then the short story stuff. That's what I'm saying. I don't think this man is not a prolific author.
What's his other book? Is it horror?
Let's find out.
House of Windows. It's called House of Windows.
Okay, I'm already out. Immediately bored.
Oh, he's best friends with Paul Tremblay, apparently.
Yeah, 2 of my favorite authors ever, Paul Tremblay and Stephen Graham Jones, and they both blurbed this one and heavily endorse it and like love this book, and I wanted to love it too, but that's okay. Okay, book recommendations. Let's end it there, or movies, or like anything that you would compare this to, whether you're recommending it because it's similar and you think it's for the same audience, or you think it's better. I would love to hear anything you guys have.
I'm gonna let you guys do books. I'm gonna cover movies.
Okay. Yesterday, I was like, I finished the Fisherman the day before yesterday, and I was like, I want to read a new book, and I've been thinking about reading this book, which is called The Night Finds Us All. This is by John Horner Jacobs. John Horner
Jacob Michael Smith.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, maybe I should read this. And then I remembered, no, you just finished The Fisherman, which was all about fish and the boat and the sea. And I was like, fuck no. But this is an option. It's a book about sea stuff.
All you need. That's all you need.
We got a game recommendation.
Should I go next? If McKenna's doing a movie, should I go next? Because I've got one book. I've only got one book though. So I was going to recommend The King in Yellow by Robert W. Chambers. This, Kayla, you know how you mentioned like if The Fisherman was more short stories, then you probably would like it a little bit more. Well, this is this is a book that inspired Lovecraft, and then Lovecraft inspired John Langan. But this one
Oh.
it was written in the late 1800s, and it's about a cursed play. And there's like 4 stories that all connect because this cursed play, if anyone reads it, they go mad, they go insane. But you never really know what the play actually is or about. So it has that kind of like really weird kind of element, but the language is a little bit dated. So I don't know if too many people would enjoy it. But I thought it was really weird and really crazy, and I liked it a lot. I felt those kinds of vibes from The Fisherman. But if you wanted like the 4 stories, like it's short, I feel like it could be good, potentially.
That one inspired a game in yellow, right?
Maybe.
Haley
Yeah.
Piper?
Oh no, that's more inspired, I think, by the fucking, what's that guy's name? He did Books of Blood and Hellbound Heart. I think it's inspired by Clive Barker. That's his name.
Oh, Clive Barker.
I think. I could be wrong though. Don't quote me. Okay, but I just have one more book that I just remembered, and it actually fits the thing more than John Jacob Heimer Schmidt. That's Our Wives Under the Sea. This is literally actually like a fishwife, where like this woman, her wife, it's like sapphic also, which is a sleigh. So her wife goes out to sea, and then she comes back, and she's like, whoa, you're different. Something's weird. And her wife is like, no, I'm not. Everything's fine. And then she starts like puking up seawater or something like that. And things get really, really gross and bleak. There's a lot of body horror from what I remember. And it's a lot of fun. Very cute.
Very cute. Are you sure they were wives, or were they just...
No, they're definitely gay.
Yeah.
They're super gay.
She wasn't just her guest. Okay, I have 3 movies that remind me very specifically of this. 2 that not so much. I mean, not very specifically, but like peripherally, and then 1 very peripherally, but like vibes. The Lighthouse, The Witch, and Annihilation.
I literally wrote down The Lighthouse meets The Witch. That's literally my movie notes.
Yeah. Robert Eggers is one of my favorite directors of all time, and I think that he could make a mastery. He could make this really, really, really good if he wanted to do it. But The Lighthouse, obsession and madness, water themes, the ocean as a character, The Witch, hostile nature, isolation, human suffering that leads to desperate and drastic decisions, Annihilation, nature in a way that we don't recognize, grief that changes you emotionally and physically, right? Obviously. There's also a scary movie called The Ritual, and have you seen it? Yeah. So The Ritual is also grief and nature that gives you nature in a way that we don't recognize. There is a movie called The Wailing, which is about generational grief. And
is that the Korean one?
Yeah, it is. It's so fucking good.
It's so good.
It's about generations and folklore and like ancient horror and whatever. And then not really related at all, but I watched Train Dreams while I was reading this, and it's not a horror. It's just like a guy going through a lot of grief at the turn of the century, and he's like building railroads for them, right? But the vibes reminded me of this. And because I was reading this at the same time, I kept thinking that movie was going to turn into horror, and it like obviously it didn't.
I've totally done that before when I'm like reading something and then I'm reading something else so closely to it, and I'm like, why aren't people dying more? It's like because
I thought this was really horrific. But for TV shows, also The Terror and The Outsider. Those are the two. The Terror is Arctic horror as a TV show, and it's like ancient eldritch shit, and it's very slow moving until it's not. And then The Outsider is some entity possessing someone's body and leading him to do bad things.
Is that one based on the Stephen King novel?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't even know that was a show.
Yeah. It's only got 1 season, but it's a great season.
Actually, I did not like that book, but I will transition into recommending Pet Sematary. I feel like I don't have a pitch for any of these books, but vibes.
Yeah.
I don't know, similar. I would also, if you like a story inside a story and like the historical stuff, I think Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones is like his most objectively well-written novel that most people will like if they pick it up. So I would say if you didn't love The Fisherman and everything that it did, maybe this could really work for you. And then my two grief-centric horror books, top of my list favorites of all time, are This Thing Between Us by Gus Marino and Monstrillo by Gerardo Samano Cordoba. This is very different, but this one deals with the death of a wife, and we really get her personality. We get everything she's been through, good and bad, and this man being haunted and followed, stalked by his grief. I think the pitch of it makes it sound so much more like a techno thriller because it has to do with technology, but it doesn't really. It's more of a cosmic horror where he's being followed by the manifestation of grief. So those are my recommendations.
Oh,
and
shit. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
Oh, what's actually, I've seen that everywhere. What is it about?
This man goes to a grocery store and suddenly there's this little girl, like the 4-year-old girl next to him, and she's like, "You're my daddy, take me home." And he's like, "I'm not your fucking daddy." And then she starts screaming and everyone's like, "Take your fucking kid home. She's screaming." And he's like, "This is not my kid." And they're like, "Clearly it's your kid. Take her home." And he's like, "Okay, fine." And so he takes her back to where she says her house is, and the attic may or may not be full of like ancient cosmic eldritch gods.
Interesting. I've seen it. I've seen that the cover so many times, but I've like never looked into what it is.
Same.
It's 74 pages.
Wow.
Well, now I'm gonna read it. Obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 74 pages.
Okay, thank you everybody for your recommendations and for hopping in here today and making time for me. This was a longer live show, and I think the book definitely lent itself to having these conversations, and I'm really glad we got to have them. So a reminder, we're currently reading Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cascino, and I'm going to change the Fable book over today so you can go start chatting about this immediately. And then after this, it's a whole bunch of brand new super new releases for probably the rest of the year. So I'm excited to read all of those with you, and I will see you next month. Bye.